Okay, here we are in the third video of this series on winning through excellence in sales. We've gone through the need for you to have a fresh look at the market. We've gone through how to put together a plan based upon new understanding of customer needs. Now we're on the sales call. But before we get to the sales call, let me make a sales call to you. Let me urge you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's the Unterdot YouTube channel. There you'll find Winning Through Excellence in Sales, the first two videos, and now this one here as well. So there'll be a total of 3, and there'll be 2 to 4 more coming as we expand on the subjects of how to sell. So please join us. Make your comments. I love to hear them. When we go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays, join us then, 12 o'clock noon on Facebook Live. We'll talk to you about these very same subjects. In fact, we'll be talking about this one on Tuesday, the sales call. So look, end of advertisement. Let's get on into what making a sales call entails. First is obvious. You need to be prepared to even show up. So, first of all, you want to be sure that you are working on a qualified lead. That is somebody in the company, probably somebody in marketing, but it could be in some companies the responsibility of the sales organization to qualify leads. You never want to send a salesperson or a sales team along with their support team out to make a customer call if they're not qualified. That means they have the need that's urgent, that you have a solution for that need, and they acknowledge that you probably do, that they have a budget and the ability to pay for it, and they want it now. If the answers to any of those questions is no, we're not quite sure of that, then you don't have a qualified lead. A little bit more discussion is required to lead up to a point where you really have someone who's bona fidely interested in hearing about how you can solve their problems. So qualified. You got that? That they have the need. So the other things that you ought to do are do some research about the company itself before you show up. Learn some things about it. Go to their website. Learn about what their products and services are. Learn who their management team is. Learn what their vision and mission is. Get a sense of who these people are. So you walk into the room having a pretty good understanding of the kind of team you're working with, the kind of company it is, and probably a little bit about its culture. Look up its press releases and its blog articles and its videos coming out of its marketing organizations as well. The second thing is, with respect to this further research, is understand the people. Go to LinkedIn, look up everybody that's going to be in that meeting and find out what their background is. Find out some business things, what their education is, what jobs they've had, what companies they've been with, all those kinds of things. And if you find out anything about their hobbies, kind of tuck that away for when you show up. You may have something to talk about that might enable you to establish a really quick relationship. So those are pretty simple, but the biggie is make sure you're talking to qualified customers, because you're going to get awfully angry if you don't meet your 30 to 40% quota for closing deals with somebody who says at the end of the meeting, well, that's not something we can do right now. We'll have to talk again at some other time. That would be a no-no. So with those as the prereqs in preparation, if you will, you're going to show up to the meeting. And by the way, guess what? You're going to show up early. Do not be on time. Be early. Don't be rushed. Bring your pitch, bring your computer, bring whatever the heck else you need, small gift, whatever. Bring your brain, but bring it early. There's nothing worse than being on time and scrambling around because you haven't figured out what the lay of the land is. So there you are, early, waiting in a conference room or waiting in a waiting area up front, and you're looking around and you're trying to see what's going on here. Do they have any awards? Are there pictures of their team? Are they have some pictures of really great meetings that they've had, celebrations that they've had. And when the receptionist or the principal comes and takes you to the conference room or to his or her office, whichever the case may be, look left and right. Look at the demeanor of the people. Look to see what their hobbies might be. What other things do they do as a group of people? So you're gathering all this kind of intelligence. You may not use but 5% of it, but observe, and ask questions. Hey, are you guys on that softball team in that picture? Who was the team that won that trophy? Well, congratulations. Whatever it is, you're going to create this kind of small talk all from the very time you first meet somebody in the waiting room. When you get into the conference room or the person's office, wherever it is, you want to not hurry up and put your computer on the desktop and get madly set up. Blah, blah. No. Calm down. There's a little bit of time here. This is 5 minutes. Start with some small talk to get to know the person that's the principal that you're selling to, and their team members, whoever he or she's got assembled with them. Acknowledge all of these people. Get their names. Ask them a little bit about what they do. Introduce yourself. Try to relate to them. So all of this small talk, blah, blah, blah stuff is really important. Because why? It's because you're starting a relationship. You're just getting to know a group of people, and particularly the principal. You want to talk to each other as human beings and get related. But yeah, for 5 minutes. You don't want to turn the whole meeting into a BS session, nothing like that. But after 5 minutes, you say, look, why don't we get started here? And the next thing you're going to do, and you are going to lead it, you as the sales executive, you're going to establish the purpose of the meeting. Well, it's more like reestablish the purpose of the meeting. You're going to stand up in front of the room and say, the reason we're here is, and you explain that we're here to address the needs you have for such and such and such and such an issue that they have, or set of issues that they have. But very briefly, don't go blow by blow. You're not doing your pitch yet. No, this is, you stand up, there's no charts or slides or whatever you're showing. It's just talking. And then you invite the principal, after you finish, after you've shown a little bit of your color, that is your understanding of them, you ask the principal to, if they would, please share their perspective on their needs. And let this person talk as long as they want, within reason. If the person takes 5 to 10 minutes, great. You shut the heck up and listen. This is very valuable information. You got the boss there in front of you, and they got a perspective of what it is they have to deal with as an issue or set of issues, and you want to hear it. So far, you've heard it indirectly from other people and from what you can gather from their website and anything they've published. So here's a very valuable piece of time. It could be 10 minutes or so, but let them explain their needs and listen. You can ask questions only if you don't understand what they just said. If you understand what they just said, you keep your mouth shut. Let that person continue until they feel like they're done. Then that person sits down, I guess, or whatever, and now you're ready to do your pitch. Now, presumably somebody that came with you has set up your computer so you can show your presentation, and it shows up on the screen in the conference room and all that nonsense. All that stuff could be set up by somebody else on your team while you're conducting this get-to-know-you kind of part of the meeting, which now has taken upwards to 15 minutes. So now you're ready to give this pitch, but you're even more ready than when you walked in the room because you heard what they think they need. You can now tailor instantly the way you express your understanding of their needs. in the way they have expressed it. Your pitch starts with certainly an introduction of your company, who we are, how long we've been around, what we've been doing, who the team is. And then you start a section of your presentation where you're showing that you understand their needs by explaining it back to them. And much broader perspective of it, and a little bit more in depth. This could take 10 to 15 minutes just to explain your perspective of their needs, because you're going to ask for acknowledgement as we go along. So you go through a need and you simply say, is this the way you understand it as well? You ask them questions as you talk, and they say, you bet we do. Or they say, yeah, you got it right, but it is also this. So see what's going on here is the two of you and the principal, with help from everybody else in the room, carefully, but you're bouncing back and forth, getting a really good common understanding of their needs. This is so incredibly important. I might say it again 18 more times in this video alone, because this is the basis in agreement on their needs for what it is that you're going to do for them. And at least you understand what they want. So take the time to get that straight. And then you go to the next section of your presentation, which is, and here's how we, the ABC company, can help you solve this. So you start going through your solution for it. If it's software or hardware and/or services, any combination of all this, you explain what you will be able to deliver to them. You give them a feel also for when you could deliver it. Now, you haven't sized out software development or engineering changes or methodology changes in services or anything like that. You're going to give them a ballpark feel that we can do this by the end of the next quarter. You arrange it. This is something we can do in the next 4 to 6 months. So you give them a feel for that this could happen quickly, hopefully, or as quickly as they want. Then you go in particular depth in explaining what is the benefit you'll accrue from it. How will it save you money? How will it accelerate your growth? How does it solve these problems that they're seeming to have? You try to be as quantitative as you can, but to convince them you really understand this, you got a solution, then you know what it's going to look like. You know the feeds and speeds of it, in other words. If you've got underlying technology that's particularly interesting, explain that as well, but don't become the engineer in the room and doing that. Explain its capabilities. Then if you have to, you don't have to if you don't want to, but it might be appropriate to do a demonstration of some kind. Show a video. If it's a device or something, you show them the models of it. Whatever the demo is. Many of the demos are done online, which is terribly dangerous because now you're dependent on the internet. If you do a demo and their internet is down, you're going to quickly get out your phone and use your internet on your phone. You probably will save you. I hate demos that require online services. But if you've got a phone, you've got a good internet connection from your phone, you'll probably be okay. But be careful. But you close with a demo. So then further discussion ensues. Now, during the course of your presentation, you are entertaining questions. That is okay. Don't say, well, let me get through the pitch and I'll take all these questions after I'm done. Oh, no, you won't. You will answer it now. But at the same time, you're going to manage them by not letting them dominate the whole damn sales meeting with their questions. You have to handle it kind of gracefully by stopping discussions that are kind of in the weeds or inappropriate and that it's not germane. You move the meeting along. You got to be in charge of this sales meeting. But the discussions after you've finished your demo, the discussions now are additional questions that they might have that are leading more towards what they want to do next. They also may have objections. They may have raised objections during your pitch, but they may have others that they're waiting until you finish to nail you with, quite frankly. And that's usually when the competitor objection comes up. But you be prepared, because you've done the research on who your competitors are and what, and you're not going to disparage them, but you're going to show your value versus them and the benefits you bring versus them. Simple as that. You have to be prepared for that kind of thing. And that's part of your preparation way back at the beginning. I assume you've done that in your sales plan. You've reflected all of this kind of information, so you're armed with that already. So after you've done all the Q&A and you've done all of the objections and the discussion surrounding it, you're ready for next steps. Next steps, you're close to the end now. You're simply going to ask something like, well, how does this look to you? And he or she says, this looks pretty good. I didn't realize you had all of this capability. What do the rest of you think? And he or she looks around the room and other people speak, and you're listening. Again, you shut up and listen. You're listening for their reactions. And once everybody's through, your people don't talk at this one. You listen. You all listen. You've got 2 or 3 people with you. They shut up for this. And you listen. And if you heard something that wasn't quite right or they didn't understand, you clarify it now. I heard you're concerned about this capability, blah, blah, blah. I probably didn't explain it well enough. Let me clarify that for you. You're trying to lay a path to a decision. The decision at this point is not to purchase. The decision at this point is to take the next step for you to put together a proposal for them. So if you're hearing pretty great acceptance, you say, look, well, then we would like to make a proposal to you in a much more formal way. And we'll have it done in the next 4 days, 5 days, whatever you say it is. You're prepared to say this. You prepared your team that you're going to say this, so you don't surprise everybody. They got to get a piece of work done in 4 days that you haven't told them about. But you're prepared to give them a proposal in a certain amount of time and quickly. You don't drag this out for weeks, but you present them a proposal and say, thank you very much. We'll get this to you. We look forward to talking to you further. Have a great day. And you're done. You can revert back to small talk as you're leaving the room because you're still establishing a relationship. You're trying to get to know these people. You can talk about things like, it really was great to meet you. You talk about things that interest them as you're walking out of the conference room and down the hall and out of the building. So at the end of that meeting, you've had a successful sales call. Now, the obvious question is, what if they say, this looks really great, but we're going to have to wait another quarter? You're disappointed, of course, because they weren't qualified. But maybe something happened in between qualification, and so they might say, we're going to have to wait another quarter because we've got a budget cut that we got to deal with, or we've got a critical situation that we're handling right now, blah, blah, blah. That's all very understandable. And you respond by saying, sure, I understand. We'll get back in touch with you. I'll give you a call 3 months from now, or whatever you say, and we can resume this conversation. I think your needs will still exist. I think you agree, and we're prepared to give you the solution, but we'll consider it later. Thank you very much. You're disappointed, but you don't give up. If the worst happens, that it was a total failure, you still want to have a relationship with them because you might want to call them back in the future and resume the conversation. So you never burn a bridge after a sales call that didn't work out. So with that, the real name of the game is get the sale, and get the sale. So if you do all these things, there's a good chance you will, and you can meet your 30-40% quota criteria for closing deals when you have a sales call. But as you get the sale, you have a great day too.